So his name is Eric Stoltz. And he was in a movie called Mask. And I'm not sure really what it's about, but it was when he was a kid. And he had to... I don't know, something happened to his face and now he wears a mask. The show starts with a trivia answer that didn't have a trivia question before it. That's revolutionary in podcasting.
A first. Yeah, who did come up with the format for Jeopardy?
That's a question.
Was it supposed to be whimsical or like jokey at first, you think?
I'm sure that they were very stoked when they thought of that. They're like, we did it. We came up with a new way to do a trivia show. It's still just accumulating points. Well, we'll call them dollars. But you have to say it as a question. This is not like 21, the show on the TV show within the movie Quiz Show.
So the dollars that they get,
yes,
that's not real money?
No, it's real money.
Oh, okay. So like that's the amount that they win. Well, so if they are negative at the end of the show, do they owe money to Alex Trebek specifically?
As they're walking off to their dressing room, like, hey, before you leave, $700.
It's written in Alex Trebek's contract that he gets a percentage of all negative.
But that is that's taken care of by the lawyers later. Like they don't actually have to hand the money to Alex Trebek. They give it to the show's producers, and then he gets on it. He gets it on his paycheck.
Yeah, it's a monthly stipend.
So he actually has an incentive to have them not answer the question correctly. So
oh yeah, maybe that's why he reads things in the way he does.
Proper accent, and you're like, what? I've never heard it pronounced like that before. And you're concentrating on that, and then so you don't even answer the question.
Oh, it's so true. I never put words to that feeling, but I do feel that very often when I'm watching. Yeah,
like, oh shoot, I forgot to focus on the question. Because, or the clue, because I was focusing on the way he was talking.
Yeah, and then the contestants answer so quickly. It's like, I didn't even get a chance.
Oh, yeah, I've been zoning out for the past 3 minutes. Actually, I know that feeling, but it doesn't happen to me very often. I give it a good try on every clue on Jeopardy.
I try to, yeah.
So when somebody tries to talk to me during Jeopardy, it's like, come on, I'm focusing right now.
So when you're couch or armchair contesting Jeopardy, do you ask the question, like ask it in the form of a question?
No way. It's bad. It's a bad skill that I'm it's a bad habit.
You're developing a bad habit, man.
Yep. If I ever go on that show, I'm gonna go back to my armchair ways where I just sat back and I was like, Thomas Jefferson.
Hey, if they phrase it in a question the wrong way, is there any penalty for that? Like,
yeah, they don't get
what is Thomas Jefferson? I'm sorry, the answer is who is Thomas Jefferson?
Oh, you bring up a good point. I don't know.
Oh yeah, can you just say where is Thomas Jefferson?
You can't say what is Waldo. That would be wrong to the answer. If the clue was this children's series features the main character hiding in plain sight. Did you hear how tough that was for me to get through? But then I finally got it. He's hiding in plain sight. Doesn't that explain it well?
That does pretty good. Yeah.
And I would ring in and I would say, "Where is Waldo?" And I would be wrong. It is what is where is Waldo? Oh, I wonder if they've ever done that on Jeopardy.
What is where is Waldo? You could do it with Carmen Sandiego too. What is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah. What is where in the world is? It's funny. I hope they've had that on the show. All right, so let's write down Jeopardy because I want to know who came up with the format, Jeopardy format, and then also who is or what is where is, and let's see if that's ever been the correct response in Jeopardy.
All right.
What is where is Waldo? Sonnet this week, quite simply, it's Sonnet 32. What is where is sounds like it could be in any accent, just somebody who doesn't know how to speak English very well.
What is where is Waldo?
Or just somebody that doesn't know the name of the book. What is where is Waldo type of thing? So, Sonnet 32.
Here we go. If thou survive my well-contented day, when that churl death my bones with dust shall cover, and shalt by fortune once more resurvey, these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover. Compare them with the bettering of time, and though they be outstripped by every pen, reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme, exceeded by the height of happier men. Oh, then vouchsafe me but this loving thought, had my friend's muse grown with this growing age, a dearer birth than his love had brought, to march in ranks of better equipage. But since he died and poets better prove, theirs for their style I'll read, his for his love.
Got our hands full.
Yeah, I wasn't able to pay attention to much of that while I was reading it.
It's the old story of it started well for me, and I was like, oh, right, I'm going to be able to ride along. It's like a rodeo. I got on the bull.
You're hanging on.
Yeah, and it jumped out, and I was like, yeah, I don't understand why I ever fall off. You just keep holding onto the rope, and the bull kicks, and you just, whatever. And then you think that for about maybe, I don't know, 3/4 of a second, and then the bull really starts jumping, and you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot, it's a bull. And then you're off the bull, and people are running to save your life. What a sport. Oops, I'm on the ground, and man, I hope I don't die right now.
Do you think that a clown, a rodeo clown, has ever had like something retired? They don't wear numbers or anything, right? What happens when a rodeo clown retires? I'm gonna look that up.
Trivia clown. Think of how nice of a feeling it's going to be when we look up the rodeo clown, because that'll mean that we're done with this sonnet. I'm intimidated by this sonnet. Are you intimidated?
Yeah, I'm a bit intimidated. I think it's going to be a rough one, but we can dig our way through it.
So here we go. If thou survive my well-contented day, so that seems to say if you are alive after my happy days are over, when that churl death my bones with dust shall cover.
Okay.
I think churl might be kind of like some sort of swear word.
Okay, let me look it up real quick. Churl. An impolite and mean-spirited person.
Okay, so a mean guy.
All right. Oh, but a mean guy, that is death, right?
Yeah, that mean guy, that's death. Covers my bones. Meaning he takes me away.
Or maybe you've been dead for a long time.
It's been a while. Now my bones are dusty. Not only am I dead, now I'm dusty. That's how bad it is.
How embarrassing.
Yeah. At first, death wasn't so bad. I was all dressed up. I was looking great. Yeah, I was very relaxed. My whole schedule was cleared. It felt nice. And then the dust.
Great.
Oh, the dust. All right. Well, sometimes we go morbid on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. All right. Well, because Shakespeare goes morbid on Mike and Scott Read a Poem.
Yeah, this is a morbid type of a sonnet, it seems like.
So far. And shalt by fortune once more resurvey these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover. So I think when you look at me one more time, lying there dead. Again, I don't like saying that, but I think that's what he's saying.
I think resurvey is like remeasure, right? Like survey.
Yeah. So like take a survey of me again. Really look at me.
Yeah, or you know how like surveyors measure land, like they survey a land before like some building is built or something.
So are you saying measure, not just look at me, but think about my whole life?
Let's see. So these poor rude lines of thy deceased love. Okay. And shall by fortune once more resurvey these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover. What's he mean by lines of thy deceased lover?
I think like I'm a drawing.
Ah.
So these poor rude lines, like my unsexy figure.
Or, unsexy, like maybe as in wrinkly?
No, he's being modest. Oh, this old thing. Oh, just my newly deceased corpse.
I see.
This old garment that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah. Okay. He's talking to somebody
who's gonna survive after he is gone.
After he's dead. Got it.
And he says deceased lover. So I think that's pretty straightforward. This is a lover. What that means is always seems to be a subject of debate in these poems, in these people that analyze these sonnets more professionally than we do.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he does use the term lover. So you're going to look at these, again, being modest, these poor rude lines, and then the next quatrain is, compare them with the bettering of the time.
I think compare them with the bettering of the time. Things get better with age, so compare them with the bettering of the time.
I think them is the rude lines.
Oh, okay.
But I don't quite get the bettering of the time.
So the older I get, the better I become, right?
But at this point, when you're dead, it seems like the older you get, the worse you become.
But he's wanting you to compare them with the bettering of time.
Okay. We'll see. I'm still not quite clear about it.
Let's see if maybe the next few lines clear it up.
And though they be outstripped by every pen...
Okay, back to the drawing analogy here.
Drawing analogy, or what, are people not going to write about me?
Yeah.
Reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme. Oh, is it my... Oh, these poor rude lines... now I feel foolish. I feel so
it's
foolish.
His writing.
Lines, like...
Yeah.
You write a poem, and then you have lines in a poem.
Got it.
Like, oh, jeez. I'm so embarrassed, I might edit that out.
No, that stays in.
I'll do whatever I want. It's my show. It's your show too, but I have more power.
No, that was good stuff. Especially figuring it out.
All right.
You look smarter.
Compare them with the bettering of the time. So hold on. Is it about his... There is no corpse in this thing. So let's go back to the top people.
Yeah.
If thou survive my well-contented day, I still think that means if I leave you behind, because I die before you, when that churl death my bones with dust shall cover. That leads into the same, when death takes me away. And shalt by fortune once more resurvey these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover. So I wrote you a bunch of poems when I was alive. Remember Shakespeare? Remember Shakespeare writing poems? Do you remember that that's what this entire podcast has been about so far? Not him drawing a picture or describing his rotting corpse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're back to Mike and Scott read a poem. All right. Compare them with the bettering of the time. Maybe they will get better longer after I'm dead.
The words got stronger, or maybe even not just the words or his poems, but maybe the meaning of them. The poems over time gain in meaning to his lover.
If it's been a long time since somebody's been alive, and you have something that they wrote to you, that's a beautiful thing to have. It's their actual, especially if they wrote it by hand. It's like their pen, this ink actually came from them moving their hand across this very page, and I'm holding it right now.
I got that same type. So the concept you're describing there, I got that weird feeling when I went to a museum here in LA, the Getty. I think that's where it was, and I saw Van Gogh. It was like it was really, really cool.
There is that big moment of like, oh my gosh, that's their actual hand that some forgery sold to the Getty. Wow, that is the actual hand of an expert forger. All right, I know the feel. That's what you were trying to say, right?
Yeah. That's
okay,
it.
I got it. I got you. I know how to figure out what somebody's trying to say to me.
All right, so
you're talking about your rotting corpse, right? Right, Mike?
That's it. You got it.
Okay, and though they be outstripped by every pen, I don't know if I'm really figuring out what each individual line means itself, like compare them with the bettering of the time, and though they be outstripped by every pen. What's outstripped? Does that mean that I almost want to read that as even if other writers surpass me?
Yeah, outstripped, I'm looking it up, and it says move faster and overtake. So outpaced,
But yeah, I don't fully get it, but
maybe he's saying here, and though they be outstripped by every pen, meaning that he takes his time, he writes really slowly, that other pens are much faster than him when he's writing.
Or just a bunch of poems will come after me because I'm going to stop writing. After I die, that's going to be around the time that my poems stop. There's not going to be much more poems after I die from me. There's actually going to be 0, unless I'm Tupac.
Then you come back for Coachella.
But so even though there's going to be a bunch of other people writing poems, you're just going to have my collection. The reason I want you to hold on to the collection is not because it's the greatest poetry in the world. I want you to hold on to it because it's my feelings for you. Hold on to them because of my love. Exceeded by the height of happier men. Oh, that's the actual end of that quatrain. Reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme. Exceeded by the height of happier men. So happier men are...
So reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme means, like you're saying, hold on to them because there's a lot of feeling in them, not just because they're pretty little poems. Exceeded by the height of happier men.
Happier meaning luckier, like maybe... Okay, so don't judge my poems based on their skill, because even though there's going to be people that come around that are better writers than me, and there's just going to be a lot more poems out there, reading my poems is the only thing that's going to get you that personal touch from me, even though the other poems are better. So exceeded by the height of happier men, maybe they write better poems than me because they're more fortunate.
Yeah, I'll go with that. That's the best I can think of, too. That's a rough one.
It's a rough one. I'm sure I'm wrong, but hey, I just like to take a swing. Oh, then, vouchsafe me this loving thought. Oh, then...
What's vouchsafe?
Some sort of like prayer, or like you're asking for it, then please let me have this loving thought. What's the definition say?
I just looked it up. Give or grant to someone in a gracious and condescending manner.
In a gracious and condescending?
Gracious or condescending.
Sorry. Okay, so do it graciously, please. Oh, then please give me this thing that I ask for. Had my friend's muse grown with this growing age, a dearer birth than his love had brought. All right, so this is what he's asking for. That my friend's muse... What's my friend's muse? Is it a sitcom at the time?
Had my friend's muse grown with this growing age, a dearer birth than this his love had brought.
To march in ranks of better equipage. What's equipage? Like riding?
Equipage.
Is it...
It's the equipment for a particular purpose. A carriage and horses with attendants.
So that... Then please just give me this, that my... I don't know, does it... He wants something good for the person that he's leaving behind. A dearer birth than his love had brought. So give him more things than you gave to me. To march in the ranks, so to be part of people that has better how does it say to pronounce it?
Equipage.
Equipage?
Yep.
Equipage. Alright, I'm going to use it in Words with Friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All 7 letters. So that's an extra 35 points. You have a Q there, that's 10 points. A P is 4, a G is 3. This is a big score. I hope I can get it on a double word. At least, minimum. But I would play it even if it was just like maybe a double letter. I'd play it no matter what, because it's an extra 35 points, plus 10 for the Q. Anything over 40, you got to pull the trigger. Unless you're really setting yourself up against, another like triple word coming the other way. All right. But since he died, but since he died and poets better prove theirs for their style, I'll read his for his love. So he's asking, I think, the person that survives him to ask this for me. I hope... it's just so confusing.
Because, who's he talking about when he says, since he died? Who
I think
is
he's talking about Shakespeare. So, like, I hope that you say after I die, since Shakespeare died, and there are better poets, I'm still going to read Shakespeare's poems. Theirs I'll read for their style. Christopher Marlowe, I like his style. But Shakespeare, I like his love.
You know, I think you got it, man.
Well, but I still don't know what the beginning of that part of the vouchsafe is. Had my friend's muse grown with this growing age, a dearer birth than his love had brought.
Okay, so is the friend his lover?
Yes.
And his lover has a muse, whether it be him or somebody else.
I think it's him.
Okay.
Oh, then vouchsafe me this loving thought. I think this of me. When I die, I want you to think this thought of me. I wish, Shakespeare, that I had grown with you.
Oh, okay. Wait, going back to the O part.
Yes.
So, vouchsafe me this loving thought. Had my friend's muse grown with this growing age, so if I get old and grow with the growing age, a dearer birth than this his love had brought. So if I get old, you brought me more love than I could ever feel, or that I've ever felt.
Then a dearer birth than this his love had brought. You deserved a better life. A dearer birth than this. Born into a richer family, more loving. You know, had just better experiences. If somebody has a dear birth, they're walking into a good life.
Oh, I see. Okay, so they're a bit more well off. So is he saying by having you in my life, I was a bit more well off?
I think he's saying, I wish that you had just hoped this for me. You know, some people die and, you know, they don't seem that great of people, so you don't really think much of them. Or you might think that guy had a better. He didn't deserve the life he had. He didn't work for the stuff he had. He had it too easy. But I hope that when I die, you think this of me.
Does he also want? So when he says to march in ranks of better equipage,
he deserved to have better skill in everything. To have the necessary things that he needed in life. That's what he deserved.
March in ranks of better equipage is like he deserved to be in better company, kind of?
He belonged to the group of people who are very skilled. Maybe he wasn't that skilled. There's just something about him that just didn't quite, he couldn't quite do it. But the kind of person he was, he deserved to be able to do it.
Yeah, got it. Man, Shakespeare's it seems a bit of a narcissist here. Because he's referring to himself.
I think he's just being condescending this whole poem. He's like, listen, after I die and you look over my poems, I think he was feeling self-conscious. He was like, oh, I can't believe I'm writing all these poems to this person. They're terrible. Maybe I'm going to stop thinking that he's just fishing for compliments and I'm going to take him at his word. And I'm going to say something happened where all of a sudden he felt that his poems were terrible. And he had written all of these to this person. And he's thinking, man, after I die, I'm like too embarrassed to die because he's going to look over my poems and he's going to be like, that guy was not good at writing poems. So here's the one thing I'm asking you. After I die, just remember my poems for their love, all right, man? Like, I know they are no good.
Oh, man. Yeah, home run, dude. I think you got it.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what this poem is saying.
So this is written by a young Woody Allen.
Yeah, I really do think that we got it.
Well, we took down another giant. It was scary. I'm sure that we're still going to uncover things that are like, we didn't quite see this, we didn't quite see that.
Yeah.
But we went into this thinking that it was the Magic Johnson sonnet. Turned out to be the Woody Allen sonnet. So.
All right. So just a quick recap.
And here's a trivia question that I just thought of.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
What movie did Woody Allen make when he was 32 years old, since this is Sonnet 32?
All right. Any guesses?
No. I mean, he made so many movies in the 70s. He was making like 2 movies a year. It's ridiculous. So I don't know even a third of them. So I could just make a random guess. I think Bananas might be too early.
The only movie of Woody Allen's I know is Midnight in Paris, I think. That's Woody Allen, right?
You never heard of, you've never heard of Annie Hall?
It sounds familiar.
It beat Star Wars for Best Picture.
Oh, really?
So we're going to look up Woody Allen 32. What's Trivia Clown?
I was going to say when we were going over that I put money down that whatever you wrote on your notepad when we got to it at the end of the show, you wouldn't know what the hell you were thinking.
Oh, how did you? What a! That's an out there bet, and you nailed it. Okay, so that's a trivia question for me to see, because we still have to look up the sonnet. So let's see if I can figure out what Trivia Clown is during the break.
I know what it is because I've got it written down. But that's why I spent a little extra time writing that one down because I knew that you weren't going to get it. At least not right away. You would have eventually.
I'll do it during the break. I started drifting off again, but I'll do it during the break. So we'll see if the revised Woody Allen sonnet is what we think it is. On Mike and Scott read a poem.
Wait, are we going to do another recap, like final?
Oh, hey, look at that. We're going to do another recap. We got really serious there, but it could also go back to just him fishing for compliments. Like, hey, here's...
him being lighthearted?
Here's some, sonnets that are going to survive for all of humankind. And that people will be reading these centuries from now, and they'll never stop reading, and everybody will admire and study and make podcasts about. But hey, maybe they're not your thing. Maybe you think they're better poets. Maybe they are. Let's be honest here. But guess what? I really meant him. So hope you like him a little bit. So he's being so coy. We'll see how coy he's being after we look up the correct interpretations on Mike and Scott read a poem. Well, we're back. So it is coy. It was my final answer, which is this might be coy.
It's a lot of him saying, oh, of course there's going to be better than me out there, but I have a lot of love in my writing. So that's my excuse for it not being as good as the rest of theirs. But he knows that his is better than everyone's, and not only that, it's got way more love and meaning and feeling in it.
At this point, I don't even know whether to believe him or not. But he's putting down other poets unprovoked, it seems.
Oh, man.
We haven't read their poems, but we're just getting one side of the argument. But I have a feeling it just seems like, even though he thinks, oh, there's no way this other poet is as good as me, I'm the best, but still, I'm going to just take a dig at him because I don't even like the fact that he's trying.
Man, so Shakespeare, man, he's a bit of a jerk sometimes in some of his poems.
Seems like it. What grade are you giving us?
I think we did great on this. I think it was a real difficult poem. You wouldn't be able to just take one read through and figure it out right away.
Not people like us.
Yeah, you have to actually dissect it line by line. And at first I was scared we wouldn't get it, but I think we hit the nail on the head on this one. I give us an A-. Solid A-.
Bob, there's no difference between a weak A- and a solid A-.
Oh, that's a weak A-. What's it? That'd be something that's just like, I don't even want to give it a good grade, but I just have to because it's written so well.
Yeah, what a great thing for a teacher to say. I gave you an A-.
It's a weak A-.
And then the next person comes up and like, hey, guess what? I gave you a solid A-. It just feels different.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got an A-. I'll agree with that. Because at first I thought Lines was his dying corpse, so there's no way that I can give myself, even though speed should not be a factor.
You're the one who figured it out mid-sentence. Like, I don't know what you read to make you realize it. But
the words corpse, I was going really heavy on the corpse thing. I don't know what was going on there. I went straight to corpse on this sonnet.
It's probably all the dust with bones stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, he led me there, but I stayed there, even after he had left.
He's like, we've moved on from that whole thing.
Yeah, we dug up a grave for a second, and then everybody was like, okay, we're out of here. You know, the fun's over. And I'm there like 30 minutes later, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, where'd everybody go? I've been in this grave for the past half an hour.
Yeah, we read the online opinions and Shakespeare's-sonnets.com's interpretations, and it pretty much goes right in line with what we were saying.
We got there in the end, so it took us a while, but I don't know what else to say about it.
Good job on this one. Well, what do you think about it? Do you like this sonnet?
Well, I don't take him at his word. So I think he's fishing for compliments, and that is not something that I like. So I'm going to give Shakespeare a B-, because at least he still is writing all these poems for somebody and writing it with a lot of love. Even though I'm starting to question it, which is why it's not a B, it's a B-.
Yeah, I feel like I like this one a little bit just because it's pretty creative in the way that Shakespeare's talking smack. He's saying, of course, there's going to be better poets than me because that's just how time works. But he knew he's going to be the best forever. Not only that, he's got a lot of love and heart behind his words. So, I don't know.
It's a great way for any sort of argument or speech or anything that you have to give where you're like, hey, listen, I know somebody's going to come after me and do this better, but guess what? I really mean what I say right now.
Yeah, but I think that he doesn't really believe that somebody will come along and do it better.
Yeah, but now he's created an armor against that even entering into that person's mind.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
And that person's like, man, that guy really meant it. And then somebody else comes up and says something. It's like, no, I was already hypnotized by that guy.
Yeah, you're just talking to the Michael Jordan of convincers. That's a weird title.
He convinced me that it should be his title.
He's the Michael Jordan of convincers.
I told him that was a stupid title, and he was like, do you know who Michael Jordan was? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess I do. And he was like, doesn't everybody know who Michael Jordan is? And I was like, yeah, I think everybody does. He was like, well, shouldn't I name myself after somebody who everybody knows? And I was like, oh, yeah, you convinced me. And I was convinced. So I'm convinced that we should call him the Michael Jordan of convincers. Nice. So who is it? It's Kobe Bryant. The most convincing man I've ever met. He convinced me that he was not quite as good as Michael Jordan. All right, so, if there's nothing else to add to the sonnet, if we really slayed the giant here, then we could look up who invented the Jeopardy format. And, I forgot to think about Trivia Clown.
Trivia Clown, come on, you got this.
It can't be trivia about clowns, so we didn't talk about that. It's not Where's Waldo. That's part of the Jeopardy thing. Trivia clowns. Oh, rodeo clowns.
There you go.
What a crazy question. Has there ever been a rodeo clown that's had something retired?
Yep. Or just generally, what do they do when they retire? Is there a little ceremony? Do they have the last writing?
The last time they do their thing that they do? Saving people's lives? Yeah, okay. Well, we'll just look up. It's going to be hard to not just read in general about rodeo clowns in order to get this specific answer. What do rodeo clowns do when they retire? We'll look it up, and then we'll look up what movie Woody Allen made when he was 32. So those questions and more, but not very much more, when we come back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem.
All right, I can't find anything about what they do when they retire.
Okay, well, just a few bullet points. So we're back, and what are just a few bullet points that we should know about rodeo clowns?
So apparently, rodeo clowns there's very famous rodeo clowns, and they're inducted into the Hall of Fame just like bull riders are.
So same Hall of Fame. Rodeo Hall of Fame?
Same Hall of Fame. And apparently very loved. So rodeo clowns are popular, loved, and well known. They're kind of rock stars.
I didn't doubt it. I had a feeling there would be famous ones. I just didn't know any of their traditions.
Yeah, and it looks like in an article I was reading, they were interviewing a rodeo clown, and he was saying that at the beginning, rodeo clowns make around $10,000 to $20,000
per rodeo.
No, a year.
A year. Wow, that's too bad.
But then he said, after you get going, there's those that make $100,000 to $150,000 a year.
That's still less than $10,000 a rodeo, because I'm sure they do more than 10. So I'd like to apologize for how embarrassing my answer of $10,000 per rodeo was.
That's a lot.
He's clearing $7 million a year as a rodeo clown.
He says that he gets about $1,500 to $2,000 per performance and does over 100 shows a year. This is Dudley.
All right. So we don't really know what they do when they retire, if there's any sort of ceremony, but because that's just such a specific question to ask. Which brings me to Jeopardy, because asking if what is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, what is where in the world is Waldo, it was too specific of us to ask the question, has what is where is Waldo or what is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego ever been on the show. Also, it's where is Waldo, not where is Waldo. So it would be what is where's Waldo, and it's not as bad. But what is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego is the correct wording, and it's hard to say. So last time I'm going to say it. I nailed it on the last time, but I just want to... But just listen to me say it one more time. I think it's impressive. What is where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? You're right. $700. All right. I don't even know if $700... I don't think that is a denomination, but I could have maybe a $500 question and a $200 question. I don't know. That's...
Maybe, no, it was a daily double, and you bet.
Because that's all I had. Okay, so the other question we asked is the Jeopardy format. Who came up with it? I thought about hazarding a guess and saying Merv Griffin, but it was actually his wife, because they were talking about quiz shows. Remember, I think I said earlier in the show that there's a movie called Quiz Show, and it's about this cheating scandal, how they were giving a guy the answers.
Mm-hmm. They were feeding it to him, right?
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I think I saw it. It was in black and white.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. You were being very confident, so I was like, that's an agreement of somebody who's seen the movie. You're in a club of people who agree very strongly when somebody else says the plot of Quiz Show. So the networks didn't want you to do those types of shows, and he said to his wife, it's because they're afraid that you'll give them the answers. And she says, well, why don't you give them the answers and have them come up with a question? So that's what the story said online.
Pretty interesting.
Woody Allen. So he was born in 1935, and 35 plus 32 is 67. So I go to IMDb, and I go to 1967, and I see that he was uncredited in the movie Casino Royale. And that he...
Oh, the original?
No, I think it might be a parody of it, so I'll look that up in a second.
Oh, okay.
But then there's also a thing called The World, Color It Happy, which is a TV movie that he wrote. But I am not satisfied because it's just those are not things I've ever heard of. If it had been a year before, then the movie would have been What's Up, Tiger Lily, and I have heard of that movie. So This is really early in his career. This is just after being strictly a TV writer.
So I know Woody Allen as basically a comedy writer.
Yeah.
But very kind of like a deep comedy writer, right?
Good description, yes.
Thinky, thoughty, I don't know what the word
Heady?
is. Heady.
Yeah.
Yeah. But has he ever done more serious work?
That was I've never heard anybody describe what not being heady is than saying, what is it? Thinky, thoughty, heady. Yeah. All right. It was like Chris Pratt. It was great. That's the guy from the Lego movie. Anyway.
Oh, I should watch that.
So yes, this is what I thought it was. It's a parody of James Bond because it stars Peter Sellers as James Bond. But look, Orson Welles is in it as the bad guy. But yes, I think it's a joke movie. But there's no time to read it now. But yes, he has done more serious work as a director. He was in something serious as an actor that he didn't write earlier in his career. It's this movie called The Front. But his last movie, Blue Jasmine, it was a very serious movie, and Cate Blanchett won Best Actress for it. So.
Wait, what year was that?
This year. This year's Academy Awards. So last year the movie came out.
Man, see, I don't know why. I just never hear of his movies when they come out. Even Midnight in Paris, the only reason I heard of it is because it won Best Picture, right?
Did not win Best Picture, but it was
nominated, though?
It was nominated, yes.
Who won?
Oh, jeez.
Instead of him.
2011. Well, because normally... This is the last trivia question. I never do this. I should draw a line. This is opening up a can of worms. Asking extra trivia questions at the end. That's supposed to be not allowed. But
we get a bonus one because we did so well on Sonnet this week.
Okay, so this week the bonus one is The King's Speech, which is a fine film. And
oh wow! I feel like The King's Speech came out so much more recently than Midnight in Paris.
No, Midnight in Paris was the exact same time.
I like Midnight in Paris better.
Well,
did you see?
I saw them both.
King's Speech?
Yeah.
What do you think?
And they're both I really like The King's Speech.
Me too. I liked it a lot, actually.
Right.
But I still liked Midnight in Paris more.
Well, it was
such a good concept.
It's a good concept, yeah. I feel bad calling it the Woody Allen Sonnet now. I don't know that he's ever been self-deprecating about his work. He's only self-deprecating, about his looks and stuff. I never have heard... Well, you don't hear him in interviews, so I don't know what he thinks of his movies. I hope he likes them.
Yeah.
Because they're good. So, Woody, if you're listening, because, we only have 12 listeners, but if you're one of them... I hope that you do not embody Sonnet 32. And Magic Johnson, I hope you do not embody Sonnet 32. I hope everybody out there has the confidence to believe in the things that they put out in the world. And if you want to do some cheeky joke about how you don't think you deserve praise for your great work, and you're actually just seeking praise by putting other people down, let me tell you something. That shows a lack of confidence. So knock that behavior off and just be who you are and be great at what you do. That's this week's message. Anything to add to that?
V8, they should market high sodium. Don't market the low sodium.
Well, have both, but don't have one that's called high sodium and one that's called low sodium, not just classic and low sodium.
Yeah, because there's people who, like me, who I'm looking for a little sodium in my V8.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to go ask the guy, like, hey, do you have any high sodium V8? He's like, oh yeah, it's the one that says classic. And then, oh, okay. Or original. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't know that original. Okay, thanks for letting me know. You want to avoid that because there's a lot of that going on in grocery stores these days. Just come out and say, this is the high sodium. Some people are looking for a little sodium. And that's a message to you, V8. We're just slinging out messages here this week on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Because I'm sure I'm going to be able to edit that together where I'm like, anything to add to that? And you're like, they should really market high sodium V8. And then it'll be like, that's what you came up with. And then I just jump aboard like, yeah, V8 is, and there's no warm up. It just goes boom, straight to V8. You see how important editing is?